So I wanted to post my recaps of the playlist retreat just like everybody else, but honestly I felt like I needed a moment. Excuse my little energy immunity shots. I learned every year coming home from the playlist retreat, I get a little bit nasally congested and feeling a bit weird. And it might just be from all the time zone changes and all the different changes your body goes through that it's just like I'm not used to it. And so my body's like, every year. Because there was a part of me that believed that if I would have rushed it and recapped it too soon, I would have been emotional on camera. And that's not something I'm ready to do as of yet, but it was amazing. It was such an amazing, extremely necessary experience, I took notes just so that I could properly recap this. If you saw my recap last year, you remember this. I feel like the retreat triggered my imposter syndrome a little bit, And that's so weird. And it made me feel highly uncomfortable. When I say that this year was so the opposite, and I'm not attributing that to just the growth of the playlist retreat itself, but even just my own personal growth as a human being and all of our growth together. What that did for the energy this year. First of all, I was coming off a very sorrowful time in life and with my family. I lost my aunt, my mother's sister. We were very close. All of us are a very close family, so it was a loss that really hit us all pretty hard in our own way. So it was very sobering, very humbling to come from that experience to the playlist retreat. And I can't say that shortly before my aunt passing, I was not feeling a bit burnt out. And I was feeling the weight of disappointments that had happened throughout the year. And I would say also the future wasn't seeming too great for me either. I was just like, do I even want to continue doing music? You got all this AI and you got all this Spotify and all this stuff, and is this even a sustainable career anymore? What am I doing with my life? That's really where I was upon going home before my aunt passed. And so going to this retreat, I arrived completely naked and unsure of everything that I had achieved and whether I was going to continue in this path. But it was just so beautiful to be around what felt like family, and for it to kind of in some way feel like we were all going through the same thing in our own little way, and for us to be there for one another. Because just as much as it felt like there was an itinerary and a plan, it also felt like there was just a lot more room for us to just breathe, just for us to connect person to person first before musician to musician or producer to producer or whatever, I'm so grateful for my own personal growth and getting my own ego out the way, of not feeling too high on myself or too low, but just right dead in the middle, and it put everything in perspective in front of me. There was nothing I was too afraid to do. There was no one I was too afraid to talk to, because at the end of the day, we are all on this rock together trying to figure out what in the hell is going on, That's really it. And if you can't relate to that, I can't relate to you. I can't. And so I remember arriving And I thought about the previous year that I hadn't really zoned in on connecting as much as I should have. And I saw those faces that I saw last year that I passed by and I didn't speak to, and I engaged this year. I talked this year. I was honest this year. And it just really led to a lot of fruitful, amazing connection. You know? This year, I can't say that I went above and beyond out of my way to meet everybody and talk to everybody, but it just felt like overall I was more present. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't like checking my email. I wasn't like disengaging. I was just very there, you know? I was very present. Amazing panels and discussions, but I think the greatest discussions that I had didn't really come from the panels. It came from just like talking to my friends, just seeing like the update of where they are in their lives and how they're feeling about everything, and being able to say, I see you, I hear you, I'm here with you, or just like offer encouragement, you know? That meant the world, and then vice versa. But I would say the pinnacle or the most meaningful part of this experience, every year we do a challenge, right? The first time we did a challenge, I did it with the Kid Capri, J-Mo. It was a very just like legendary like crew of people. And then in some way, I kind of just felt like, man, each time I just felt like, man, what am I doing here? Every time we did those challenges, I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I contribute to this like group besides like what, a drum fill. This year, it was really interesting, and I think there was like something like 20 groups. And in my group, I think I was, besides Kaidi, who is a vet, I was the only vet in the group. And I think Sound Oracle's a vet too. But I would say that out of everyone in the group, I had the most seniority, if you will. Okay? And our theme was Cowboys and Indians, which didn't really make a lot of sense to me going into it. I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. I'm like, well, I hope somebody rescues this situation. And so finding out that I'm the most seasoned person in the group, I think a lot of my group members were looking to me for leadership, which initially made me nervous because I'm like, what? I don't know. We all have such different tastes and different perspectives to offer this theme that we were given. So, being that it was Cowboys and Indians, Sound Oracle thought of, why don't we have some like horse gallops and all of that? I'm like, okay. So I have him fly over the horse gallops from his computer to mine because we're using my computer to pretty much make the song. There's one brings up the idea of sampling Apache. Bow, 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 jump on it, jump on it. And so I immediately had this idea of like, well, why don't we reharm the chords a little bit just so that it's like a little bit more hip, a little more cool. So I got a guitar. I went and borrowed a guitar from Personas. Shout out to Personas. And so I said, hey guys, instead of the normal chords, what if we did something like, and they really liked that idea. And so I put that down for us to mess around with. And of course we had like an hour of studio time. So that meant that I could also play drums on the track, which I know this sounds funny, you guys, but I was a little bit hesitant to even do that. I was like, I can just program it because I wanted it to sound very updated. But I keep forgetting the importance of me playing drums on my music. Like, it is essential. Like, there is no world where a Pocket Queen track should exist without my drums. And that almost sounds obvious, but it's not instinctual for me. So we had an hour of studio time, so that forced me to think about what it would sound like if I played on this. I got Heidi to record some piano, or not piano, but some Rhodes to it. And then after that, I continued working on and building out the track here and there. Safa is over in the corner working on melodies and lyrics, which we all have no idea what she's writing, because, you know, she's just being a little bit shy and whatever. And so I'm like, you know, do your thing. Maybe like 3:30, 4:30 in the morning. We decided to call it because, you know, to Theswan's point, we're not going to be any good if we just stay up all night. But I kind of knew how this goes, so I stayed up a little bit longer to just like refine some things, get some things sitting better in the mix. Woke up the next morning, completely drained. I only had 2 hours of sleep. I meet up with Safa. We go to the lunch tent and record the vocals. And when I finally heard her sing the parts that we had been humming all night long, I knew this was going to be crazy. I was like, oh, snap. Because first of all, her voice is just crazy. Her voice is incredible. And then after that, after we finished those parts and she laid down all her background vocals and everything, brought it back to the crew. They loved it. And Sound Oracle did his thing with the transitions and having the track rise and fall. You know, what's great about a team is like, you got to know when it's your turn to get out the way. You know what I'm saying? So I got out the way so he could do that part, because I can't stand finding transitional things and all of that and risers and fillers. But he killed that. After that, gave it to Theswan to master, and we were done. It was just so meaningful and powerful to see the reaction from everyone when they finally played the track. To which I thought that people were gonna like it, but people really liked it. People really, it really resonated with them, and it meant the world to me, because again, I'm coming off a place where my confidence in this is kind of low. I was really questioning, like, am I a producer? Like, can I do this? Like, is this even for me? Am I just a drummer? And if I am, I'm totally fine with that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm cool with if all people have to say about me when it's all said and done is that I was a great drummer. Like, none of this other stuff has to be realized to me anymore. But to get the feedback that I got, one person said to me, I don't know if at all you were doubtful about your direction and doing this and being a producer, but you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're in your bag. And it felt like God had used him to talk to me in that moment. And it almost made me cry, because it was like, that is too timely. That is too crazy that you said that right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make any sense of like how you knew to say that to me. This year, it just really felt close-knit. It felt like family. And it really restored my faith that there is community still in the music industry. And that we really are still here for one another. You know, and there's such power in banding together in these times where it feels so uncertain. And you don't know which direction you should go. I'm so eternally grateful to Jeff and Lynette for opening their homes, homes, their home. There's only one. For opening their home to all of us and allowing us to become their family in some way. Thank you for the thought that is put into the panels, the speakers, the topics, the endorsees, the sponsorships, the companies that are there. That's even more helpful than you all know. These are people that I needed to talk to. And so it's truly a blessing. And it's crazy that I almost let my experience last year scare me from coming this year. Boy, oh boy, would that have been a mistake. Wow. Wow. I really don't know what else to say. I don't. I feel like I've been a little scattered, and I'm gonna need to edit this really well. But I hope that in some way that you can relate to what I'm talking about. Like, even if you do have a bad experience with something, if you feel like uncomfortable and there's an opportunity to grow, don't run from it. Welcome it. Welcome it. Say, come here. You know? I wish I had a better ending, but I guess because this is not the end. PQ, out.